But I would like to announce that I am leaving Twitch. I have decided that I'm going to leave Twitch. Lilac, thank you for the 100 bits. I feel like I haven't done something in a while. Like this is related to the last topic, like a RAM disk. In theory, it could be doable, but you need to do some major rewiring to the motherboard to support it, plus adding support to the software to support it. External RAM disks have been a thing since the Amiga. Modern Windows lets you use external drives. Okay, yeah, experiment. I'm talking about a whole motherboard with the RAM slots removed. On this, my 64th episode, I am announcing my retirement from Twitch. What am I going to be doing to replace my Twitch passion? What am I going to be doing to replace my time here? Well, that's simple. I'm going to be taking showers and selling the water runoff to anybody who would buy it. Because this horrible, horrible thing just sort of happened, and it needs to be talked about. So, an Instagrammer, the IG, Belle Delphine, I'm looking at the article now, has been selling jars of gamer girl bathwater. There is a video of her. There's a video of her in the tub, and she is sitting there, and she's scooping up water in the cup, in the little container. Wait, is Greg me? No, I'm not being serious. I'm not leaving Twitch to sell my bath water. Yikes. Does the water runoff come with a pack of Silver's Nuggets? AR Mega Man, the water runoff is off Silver's Nuggets. Yeah, so she's selling bottles of her bath water, and they sold out. Okay, so here's the thing. They sold out. I don't know how many she had, though. The only thing that I can't find is how many originally there were. But, yeah. I wish. Well, she's an entrepreneur. I'll give her that. Yeah. And Elements, that is the first thing I'm going to say about this. The first thing that I'm going to say about this is I gotta respect the hustle. Listen. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely bonkers. But if I thought for a second that I could jar up 1,000 bottles of my bath water and that people would pay $43 a jar, which is what she sold them for, I would be in the tub right now. Yeah, this is capitalism. I don't want to live on this planet anymore. You said exactly what Matt said about it. Like how hot we're talking here. I mean, I'll buy Sage drinking water. Yeah, and Lizard. And here's the thing, and that's something that's probably going to shock a lot of people. This is not the first time anything like that has happened. There are people out there that sell, women out there that sell their underwear on a regular basis for to guys who I don't know. I don't even want to get into what I think they're doing with them, but they sell it. They people sell this kind of stuff all the time, and there's people out there who will buy it. Well, at least she's cute. Okay, so here's my thing with that, Fox. Okay, she's cute. I'll give her that. She's cute. She's got the picture that they got here. She's got the little cat ear headphones. She's got a cute face. She's got she almost looks like a somewhere between a scene girl and a Harajuku girl. I'll give her that. But I don't care how cute you are. If your taint touched the water, if your ass touched the water, if the hole where poop comes out of was sitting in the water, I don't want it. There's a reason you flush it. There's a reason you drain your tub. I don't want it. Greg and Tub Stream when? AR, that will be followed shortly by my Greg explains why he's banned from Twitch stream over on YouTube. Even if it's ridiculous, if people pay for it, she's got bills to take care of after all. I can't I can't hate the hustle. It is. I don't know. Okay, I don't know that I'm. And the reason I say that I one of the reasons I say that I don't know if I respect the hustle, but I appreciate the hustle. She's gonna sell it. That's fine. That's fine. I think I'm a little more concerned about who's buying it. What? Ass in a glass. This can go places. No. Oh my God. I know what I'm gonna call my bathwater. My bathwater business. What I should call it between a cock and a hard place is what I should call the bathwater, right? Because my taint has touched it, or between a cock and a brown place, because my taint has touched it. It's been it has been where the sun don't shine. Oh my God, sun don't shine bathwater. That's what we'll call it. Oh my God, sun don't shine. Oh my God. Because sometimes you want a little taste of where the sun don't shine. Oh,
chillax, my dudes.
Said Big Boss when he eats a mushroom. Please stop for the children. Stop before TOS gets you. On this episode, we talk about sunlight. That ain't moonshine, but it'll make you go blind. Sun don't moonshine. And banned. Bruce Qualagamer wants the sage drinking water. I will let him drink a few sips, and then that will be water that he's touched, and then I'll just give him more. The internet was a mistake. Don't worry, Cassidy, not leaving. I don't think my judging by the reaction on chat, I don't think my bathwater business is going to go over very well, no matter how much I'm trying to sell it here. I wonder what Greg talked about on today's stream. Oh, yeah, June. The tags for this on YouTube are going to be wild. What? I mean, if you want to go right the hell ahead, just working that at natural selection. Yeah, exact experiment. Yeah, that's when I think of the why don't we just take the warning labels off of everything and let the problem sort itself out? Sick after drinking. See, now I'm gonna bring up this article. Oh, if I can even find it, I can't find it. I came across an article, so we're just joking. Totally joking, Cassidy. Totally joking. I am not leaving Twitch unless my bathwater business takes off and I can sell 10,000 bottles at $43 a piece. I'm gonna go see how hot the chicken is. I bet the majority of people who bought that bathwater were thirsty ass teenagers. I see what you did there, Cream. Thirsty. It's for sentimental use, not for actual drinking. Apparently someone didn't listen. Yeah, I did hear that someone supposedly got sick from drinking it, but I don't know if it was a legit article or not. I actually didn't click on it. I wouldn't be surprised if it was by Hard Drive or The Onion. I'm a little surprised, and here's one thing. I'm a little surprised. I expect the combat pay for this. I'm a little surprised that they didn't get she's not getting in trouble, is what I'm actually really surprised about, because that and not from the weirdness of it. The weirdness of it is probably light. Thank you, Cassidy. The weirdness of it is like internet light. There are a lot of weirder things that happen that are not good. So as far as the weirdness level goes, this is relatively light for the internet. My concern is that she is effectively selling potentially contaminated water. Is there anything illegal to it? She's selling contaminated water. You know, if I see Mendez says no, and that's why I'm curious about that, because you are selling contaminated water. You are selling water that has been soaking in your bodily fluids. Because at one point she's like spitting in it. She's like putting it in her mouth and it's coming out of her mouth. And I hate that I have to sit here and describe this, but if she stated that it's not intended for drinking, then I guess it would be fine. Today's topic of the live stream is that this is the last live stream. Do you need a license? No, Cyan Fox, no, because you are not selling drinking water. And you know what? Yeah, she did specify for sentimental purposes only. I think that is what's saving her. I think that, and no joke, I think that the fact that she said for sentimental purposes only is the entire legal loophole. That's it. That's the whole loophole. Because that she doesn't have to worry about selling any sort of product for consumption. She's not worrying about selling a contaminated product because realistically, according to her, you're not supposed to take it out of the jar. Like, as dumb as it sounds, it's actually kind of brilliant, albeit super weird. Yeah, she's selling water to creepos who are going to sniff it, wash their hands, and more. I am sad that I have to be talking about this. If there is some kind of warning about it, I suppose it isn't legal, but I'd argue it still isn't ethical. Press play. I think ethics is another big concern here. I think, is it ethical? Probably not. is the best answer I can give. The issue here is that ethics and legality are two different things. It may be unethical, but it is very legal. As I previously mentioned, still bathwater, now contaminated with countless bacteria since it's a perfect breeding ground for said bacteria. Yeah, I wonder if because she specified that it is for sentimental purposes only. Because think about it. For sentimental purposes, that means you shouldn't be doing anything with it at all. She didn't say it's not for drinking, it's for washing your hands. She didn't say that it's not for drinking, it's for cooking with. She didn't say that it's for anything other than sentimental reasons, and the only thing you do with sentimental stuff is you keep it. So I wonder if there is a legal loophole there. If this is even something, because here's the thing, it might actually be a victimless crime. It's not illegal for people to buy it. It's creepy as hell. But it's not illegal for them to buy it, I think. See you guys, just finished my breakfast burrito, so I hope you're using the farm. AR Mega Man, have a good one. I apologize that you had to be eating a breakfast burrito while we talked about my potential bathwater business. The water has our DNA, and some people might try cloning with it. Oh, man. Someone. Shadow, the problem with that is that the scientists are so concerned with whether or not they could that they never stop to think if they should. Is it moonshine just dirty bathwater? This is fine. Well, I mean, moonshine's got so much alcohol in it, it'll kill any bacteria. So I guess that's safer. I'm glad I'm not drinking anything right now. Yeah, I mean, yikes, man. Just yikes. What? I don't know what the world's coming to. I know that it has been there for a while, though. At this point, it's their own fault for drinking it and being total crip. Yeah, it's. I think the legality is more questionable than the ethics part. Like, she's doing it and not caring. Yeah, the ethics is the ethics. It maybe it's subjective. I don't know. And that's the thing with ethics. Maybe ethics are subjective. You know, morality, for the most part, a lot of people like to believe is subjective. But it is damn creepy. It exists, but it's nowhere near usable enough for full-on human cloning, let alone the ethics. But experiment. No one's trying to make a human. They're just trying to make a gamer. Oh, look! See that? I sink the ship that I live on just to kill the captain. Unqualified public toilet water. I mean, it's public, so it's just there, right? That is science in general. It does not concern itself with ethics, and not because the discipline is cold, but because it was not. Yeah. You're absolutely right. Actually, Aqua, which is unfortunate to have to think about. So I can't clone myself and kick my own ass. Latimer, but what if the clone wins? See, that's the problem. Like, oh, I make a clone so I can kick my own ass, but then you get the crap kicked out of you by your clone. Because you know why? Because the clone is younger and more and more full of life than you are. Its blood is fresher. No, you are the clone. That's elements. That's a concept I always joked about with the mirror. Like sometimes I look at the mirror and wonder if I'm the reflection. CRISPR. I actually don't know what CRISPR is, but I'm more worried than I have ever been. I didn't know I was that good. So that is. I mean, there's only so much to be said about Gamer Girl Bathwater. I mean, she's adorable, so somebody's bound to buy it. If I were that adorable, I would probably sell it too, but no one's buying. I mean, I there's a lot to go around, right? Okay. Oh, you know what? I have not been hitting my button. CRISPR is DNA modification that is controversial as it could lead to designer babies. Oh, that's my Shadow. Isn't that where I keep all my vegetables in the refrigerator? That's what I was always expecting. Still hella creepy. Kitten bathwater. Oh my god, yeah, there we go. Now elements. Now we're in the business. But this is the viewer topics portion. You got long hair and you got hair long enough to be a girl. Not that type of designer babies. This is the viewer topics portion. So if you have anything that you want to discuss, this is actually going to be a shorter episode. I honestly didn't have a third topic. The first part of the show ran a little bit long, but I just didn't have a third topic. It wasn't anything. I mean, when you talk about bathwater for sale for $43 a jar, where do you go? For episode 64, did you hear about the HDMI adapter for the N64? Yes, I did hear about the N6. Let me see if I can find it. HDMI. I want to find the actual name for it. Is it the Ultra HDMI? Is this what I'm looking at? No, that's an internal mod. Yeah, it's not. Is it? Oh, Eons. Is it Eons? Let me see. Yeah, the Eon adapter. Let's close that window because that has baby bathwater. Yeah, they're the ones that did the GameCube HD adapter. First of all, it's a good company. Good company. From the GameCube HD adapter was a solid product. I've seen it in action before, and it is actually a very good product. So it's a reliable company. I'm going to catch flack for this one, especially since it is the 64th episode, but I don't have a whole lot of nostalgia for the N64. There are a few games that I think were fantastic, but I never really attached myself very strongly to the N64. During that era, I was a PlayStation 1 guy and ran into a lot of games that I really love for the system. My biggest problem was that I was very heavily into RPGs, and RPGs were scarce on the N64. I was a big 2D fan, and 2D games are scarce on the N64 if they exist at all. So the N64 never really did it for me. And here we are years later, and it still doesn't do it for me. Nothing really, you have certain games like Jet Force Gemini. Of course, there's the ones like Buck Bumble and stuff that are, they're somewhat interesting. But the N64 never, it never did it for me. It was never a huge draw. Oh, Quest 64 makes up for that one. June, you get a. I don't understand. Does it really make it that much better? Mendez, it makes it look better. The bigger issue from in my area is that it is easier to play online. That's a big bonus for me. Like, I wouldn't mind having the GameCube one. Not because I am a hardcore GameCube guy and it's hooked up to my TV, let's go. But I like to play things with original hardware as much as possible. And if I had a GameCube HDMI adapter, it'd be easier to do for the stream. So that's my draw for it. And I know that there are a lot of people who that's their draw for it. Some people are hardcore N64 fans. So this is a big draw for them, especially with modern TVs that are starting to ditch things like composite. And quite frankly, you don't really want to be playing composite now anyway, unless you really, really want that look. But, or you've got a CRT to make up for it. So it's understandable. There is a market for it. But I'm just not that market. Play a little Mario Golf at a friend's house. Any HDMI options for the N64 will still look pixelated in the games department, but look cleaner and zero lag. And that's a big one. Who's gonna? You know what? With the zero lag minion, I'll tell you who's gonna buy this up. Melee? No. Smash 64 players. Smash 64 players will buy this up because they want to play the game. They want to play it on original hardware. They want it to look better, but they don't want any input lag. They'll snatch these up. PlayStation, Sega Saturn, and 64. Don't at me. I will never at you for that. Press play because you are correct. I don't know if this is the right kind of topic to bring up. What are your thoughts on people claiming the modern RPGs and other games are becoming too easy? We'll come back to that one because there was another topic that I wanted to see. But yeah, the N64 HDMI adapter looks fine. I don't really care to play any of my N64 games that I can't play elsewhere. Yeah, the N64 had great games, but most of them are available in different ways now. That's sort of my thing. Like Banjo-Kazooie, I don't think are modernized. Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, Mario Kart 64, Star Fox 64. Like most of those are available in some other form or fashion, even outside of emulation. So it's easier to play them. And they look better. Somebody mentioned, and I did want to talk about this one. Live action Ariel, the Little Mermaid. They are apparently casting a can I say black? Is that, I'm always worried about saying that is African American. I don't like saying African American because I don't know that she's African American. She might be Jamaican. I don't know who the person is. What's rare replay? Yeah. If you really wanted to play the banjo games, you would buy the rare replay. So they want to cast. You can say black if you want to. Oh, thank you. I don't know. Some people don't like that. Some people like something else. Because I actually don't know. I don't know who the actress is. I know that they cast somebody. I don't know if they had a name in mind. I think they did, but there's the argument that Ariel can't be black or can't be a person of color. I find this incredibly ridiculous. This is bonkers. This is ridiculous. This is a, and I'm gonna say this here, and I apologize if this is a little insensitive. This is the people who are complaining about this are people who more than likely are white, who are now dealing with the idea of their representation not being present in media and being upset about it, which is what people of color have been dealing with for decades and decades. There are not, it's topic like this that remind me of why I don't go on Twitter. There has been a long-standing culture, and I'm trying my best to tiptoe around this because I don't want to say anything that's insensitive. There's been a long-standing culture of white being the default color for characters, where if the character has no Yeah, Jamaica is an African. Exactly. Mendes. That's why I said I don't know if people want me to say African American or black because it's different. There's been a long-standing practice of white being the default color. That people of color will usually only be used when the role calls for them to be that way. If you're going to a place with Asian people, you have to cast an Asian character. If you're going to a place with black people, you have to cast black actors and black actors. If the race isn't mentioned, they use white as the default, and that's been a practice for a very long time. And I think it's been a very subtle practice that no one's really paid attention to. The reality is that that's going away now. That's going away. You're starting to cast people of color for why couldn't they create an original Jamaican Mermaid movie? You're starting to cast people of color from across the spectrum for basic roles, for non-race specific roles, and that's a good thing. That's what's supposed to be happening. There is not supposed to be a default race for a character, the same way there is not a default race for people. That is reality. And media is starting to catch up with it, and it's bothering some people. Wrongfully so. It should not be bothering them. Shut up. Ariel's white in the original, and I don't mind her being black. Here's the thing. She was white in the Little Mermaid Disney movie, but that's not the original. The original story, I don't remember her being anything. I didn't read the whole story, but I don't remember her being specifically anything. And this is sort of my biggest problem with this whole argument. It is amazing that you can tell me that a fantasy character from a fantasy race, from a fantasy land, in a fantasy setting about a fantasy story is supposed to have a certain race attached to it, a certain skin color attached to it. You do know there aren't real mermaids, right? You do know that there's not an Atlantis or wherever the hell they lived. There's not a real Ursula. There is not a real any of these characters. So they can look like whatever the hell you want them to look like. If you think that she's supposed to be white, you're going off the Disney movie. But that's not the original. That's not the source material. She didn't turn into sea foam at the end of it, like she does in the story. Mermaids aren't real? Yeah, I'm sorry, press play. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings with that. Hang on a second here. I'm gonna go back up. There are black. Yeah, wasn't there? Shadow, weren't there black mermaids in the Little Mermaid? I could have sworn there were. Hold on. Why couldn't they? Yeah. Is Black Ariel hot? Yeah, I don't know. Ariel's white in the original, and Money was black. We're gonna jump ahead here. She also had a tongue cut out in the original. I've seen nothing but support for this on my timeline, so I have a hard time believing that. June Fox, there are people against it. There are always people that are going to complain. There are always people that are going to complain, and the complainers usually yell louder than the defenders at first. So there are people saying that it is wrong. It's like the reverse version of whitewashing, where there have been an argument, June, for a while now that in this rush to, can I post links in chat? Yes, as long as they're clean links. There's been an argument for a while now that in this change over from white as the default character, as the default color, that a lot of people are trying to jump on board with a more a broader spectrum of characters, but they're doing so by changing pre-existing characters. So there is an argument that they should stop doing this. They need to be making original characters, which Unqualified Gamer mentioned that they come up with a separate mermaid story. The thing is with this particular Bruce Unqualified Gamer, the thing with this particular story is that the version that everybody's talking about, because everybody's comparing it to the Disney version, that's where they're getting the white Ariel from. Is they're getting it from the Disney version. That in and of itself was an alteration of the original source material. So this movie could realistically be the same thing. This movie is most likely going to be an alteration of the original story. It's obviously going to have similarities to the Little Mermaid Disney movie, because I think Disney's the one doing it. But there's going to be differences. It may actually be more true to the original story. My point is that these characters were never, my understanding was that they were never specified to be any particular skin color. They're not from any place that is associated with a particular skin color. So the idea that I want a purple Ariel for this, press play. They're a purple fish. So if they live in the ocean, a purple Ariel would make sense. An any color mermaid would make perfect sense. Who did the original Little Mermaid? Let me look that up. I don't know. I don't think that was a Hans Christian Andersen story. Mermaid original. Original. The original story. Oh, it is a Hans Christian Andersen. Yeah, it is a Hans Christian Andersen. Hey, I got that one right. Yeah, that book did not have a happy ending either. In the original, somebody can clarify. I think I'm going to get this wrong. Her voice was taken, but I believe they cut her tongue out, and then at the end, she gave up her life for him because he was killed or something. So she gave up her life for him, but then as a reward for her sacrifice, she was allowed the ability to turn into sea foam, and she basically became part of the sea at that point. That's a horrible butchering of what actually happens in the book, but it was something along those lines. It was not the super happy ending. Like, a lot of these books were not like that. It was him because I went to Denmark last year. They have a statue. Oh, okay. Sometimes it comes across as pandering. Not saying this is the case, but it's and Unqualified Gamer. That was the big problem, was that a lot of people with some of this color changing of pre-existing characters, a lot of people think that it is pandering, and on some levels, I agree. When you write a story and you purposely change a pre-existing character, I'm going to give you an example of what I think is a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. And I feel like everybody's going to agree with me here. Is it a children's book? Mendez, I believe it was a children's book, but children were a lot tougher back then. If you suddenly decided in a comic book that Peter Parker was Hispanic, I would have a problem with that. Yes, it's nice to see Hispanics get represented in comic books. But changing a pre-existing character doesn't work. It is pandering. It is pandering. Writing a half black, half Hispanic character into the Spider-Man universe and making him a different version of Spider-Man is the right way to do it. I give you Miles Morales into the Spider-Verse. That's the right way to do it. So there is some concern that you take a pre-existing character of one race and you turn them into another race just because you want to pander to the crowd. This does not apply here, though, because what you're talking about is a fantasy character. You're talking about a character who, in the context of the story, did not exist in a place where skin color was a specific thing. They lived in the sea with fish. The crab was red. the fish was yellow. He was named Flounder, even though he was fat, and I don't understand that. I'm sorry, he was big meated. He was not fat. He was just not. He was not a flounder. I apologize for that. Ursula. Ursula, I'm almost 100% sure was purple. Ursula. Wasn't Ursula purple? Yes. She was like a purplish pink. Skin color was not it was a chubby fish. Skin color was not a specified thing here. So you can change it to whatever the hell you want. Flounder is a rounder. The crab was also Jamaican. An example of a bad way to do it would be taking someone like Mulan and making her a white American actress and not Asian one. That would cause a lot of anger. Yeah, Andy, one of the larger ones, which has become a joke now, a running gag nowadays, is Scarlett Johansson when she was cast as Major Kusanagi from Ghost in the Shell. That was a big, it's called whitewashing. They took an actress who. They took a character who was supposed to be Japanese and exist in Japan, and they cast a white actress in their place. I'm gonna press play. I'm gonna give Ghost in the Shell a pass on that though, and I'm gonna tell you why. If you have seen the movie, they actually wrote the fact that she doesn't look Asian into the story. They found a way around it, and it kind of worked a little. Mendez, how was Ghost in the Shell? Mendez, it actually wasn't a bad movie. There was a lot. If you have seen, excuse me, if you've seen the anime, there are a lot of scenes that are almost shot for shot for the Ghost in the Shell movie to live action to the Ghost in the Shell anime. So is that why Dumbo live action didn't have the crows? I don't know, gamer. I think Ghost in the Shell live action handled it okay. Not amazing, but better than I thought it would be. Yeah, but the ending to Ghost in the Shell is hella dumb. Yeah, it took a lot. Oh my god, it took elements. It took tons of shots. Like I had to go and watch the original Ghost in the Shell after it just to be amazed. My biggest problem with the Ghost in the Shell movie, if you go on YouTube, you can see the opening side by side to the anime. My problem is that the anime had an amazing song in the beginning and the movie did not. I think the movie used some version of that song that they made, but the original version of that song, which if somebody can do me a favor and find that the name of that song was the intro song to the Ghost in the Shell anime, that was an amazing song. Very, very ethereal music that went extremely well with what was happening on the screen. Wasn't just the first anime movie. It took a lot. Oh, it took a lot from the season. See, I didn't see Standalone Complex, so I don't know how much it borrowed from that. Also, I didn't know that it borrowed a whole lot from that. The Bulgarian, is it Bulgarian singing? Let me see here. Let me see if I can find it. Intro. I used to know the name of the song. Inner Universe. That's the name of the song. Inner Universe is the name of the song. I personally still need to watch the Ghost in. I want to watch the later stuff. I want to watch the Standalone Complex. I didn't get to see any of that. Usually I like sci-fi. Ghost in the Shell made me fall asleep. Ghost in the Shell is a high sci-fi is almost what I would call it. It is extremely sci-fi. To the point where it is a bit much for people. So I understand that. When I was younger and anime really started to become big over here and known as anime, because we had anime in the US for a long time, but nobody knew it as anime. When people really started to know it as anime, the two biggest things were Ghost in the Shell and Ninja Scroll. And Ninja Scroll was often vastly more popular, and I understand why. I understood back then, and I understand it now. Ghost in the Shell is pretty complicated. It's got some amazing visuals, but it can be a bit much to try and watch, whereas Ninja Scroll is much easier to follow, and the action sequences are still freaking awesome. Ghost in the Shell and Ninja Scroll are movies that I believe held up very well. It's anime cyberpunk from what it's saying. Not as cyberpunky. Think cyberpunk, but more tech and less purple. That's probably the best way to describe Ghost in the Shell. A lot of people had a problem with Shocker being a black guy in Spider-Man Homecoming. I have no idea why. Yeah, I wouldn't understand why. Like that's and again, Portlock, that comes down to the idea that was a pre-existing character, so he should have stayed the way he was, according to some people. Realistically, I don't care. It's not like he was a big character anyway. So it's the Shocker. The most popular moment that the Shocker has ever had is when Peter Parker screamed his name in the animation. I'm almost saying anime, and it wasn't anime. I always saw Ghost in the Shell as more of a mystery crime than sci-fi. It is sci-fi though. It is science fiction. It is Sci-Fox. It is worthy of the full name. It is like when a kid gets in trouble and you say their full name. Ghost in the Shell isn't just sci-fi. It is science fiction. Like when you say it out that way, it gives it more of an impact. And Ghost in the Shell was it was hard science fiction. I'll follow you to the edge of the earth, Shocker. Yeah, like that's the most popular Shocker there ever been. Who the hell cares? Just be happy somebody's saying his name. Was there a big outcry when Nick Fury was changing color between the comics and the movies? Andy, no. And I have a feeling that part of that was because it was Samuel L. Jackson, and everybody loves Samuel L. Jackson, so nobody cares. Lurking right now. No problem, Cassidy. Always love a good lurk. How don't you have the Shocker scream as a drop? Oh, man. Yeah, the whole thing, the whole Ariel, Black Ariel thing is it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I understand there being some merit to the idea of not wanting to pander to people. I understand that. I absolutely do. But like I said, and I'll say it again, this is a fantasy character in a fantasy setting from a fantasy place. There is no locked in version of the color of the character here's what I'll have a problem with. I'll have a problem if you tell me that Ariel in this Little Mermaid is a homebody that has no idea, that has no interest in going out and exploring the ocean. That's what I have a problem with, because now what you're doing is you're changing the character at their core, and I don't like that. That's not what you're trying to do. But changing the color of the character literally doesn't change anything. Changing the accent of the character doesn't change. None of that changes anything. Depending on where this magical city is under the sea, they might have a different accent anyway. But Bojaw is ready. Okay, quick question. Since CTR is doing this right now, thoughts on games that have special limited time events that have event exclusive characters and other unlockables? Fox, I don't have a problem with it. I am actually okay with it. As long as it's cosmetic, as long as it does not give you any sort of advantage in the game, I'm actually okay with limited time DLC and skins and things like that. Fortnite has done it for a while, which love Fortnite or hate it, it does it. There's a lot of other games that do it. Tetris 99. I love Tetris 99. Tetris 99 had an event where you could earn a Tetris Game Boy theme for your game. If you did not do that, I don't know that that's even available anymore. Next week, they're doing a Splatoon event with a Splatoon theme that you can earn if you earn 100 points, which is relatively easy to earn. But if you miss that, you'll probably miss it. I'm okay with it. I think that when they make stuff like that, they want people to feel special. They want it to be, oh my God, that skin's so cool. I wish I was there for that one, or I've been playing for a long time. Fortnite is big on that with the seasons where, you'll see skins from seasons 1 and 2, and it's cool because you've got the OG skin. You've got the version that nobody has anymore. World of Warcraft MMOs are constantly, there are mounts and stuff that are limited time or from limited raids and stuff like that, or just from old raids that people can't get anymore. People love that kind of stuff. Rooster, have a good one. By the way, Rooster, I know that you're gonna go, so I don't expect an answer now, but I hope you are feeling better. If you are not, then please keep getting better, but I do hope you're feeling better after everything that happened before. The crap better still be Jamaican or I'm out. Spectacular Spider-Man. Nothing beats Shocker's southern accent. This Splatoon one's gonna be so cool. So yeah, I'm okay with limited time DLC things. I think that's cool. I think that people like that kind of stuff. All right. If there is nothing else, I don't know if anything else. When is it generally okay to bring up a suggestion from before? I'm sorry, Cyrus. If you have anything, I was actually gonna ask if anybody has anything else because I didn't. I'm sure we passed some topics, and I apologize. I go on my little rants and I don't read stuff from time to time. So Cyrus, I know that I believe you had something from before. If you want to mention it, we'll bring it up here. Just will they make the special rewards readily available when they stop doing? Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. Neon Mole, I'm not sure. I don't know if this is the right kind of topic to bring up. But what are your thoughts on people claiming that modern RPGs and other RPGs? Okay, that's the topic. Should games have modes that intentionally lower difficulty below the default value to cater to new players or not? No. I don't believe that modes should have anything below normal. If you want to reduce the difficulty of normal, you go right ahead. You are not. I think we talked about this before. I think we talked about this with people complaining that Dark Souls should have an easy mode. I remember having that conversation before. You are not owed a difficult game when you buy a game. You are not owed that. You don't have the right to say that video games need to be harder because you prefer them to be harder. If a game comes out and it's not hard enough for you, implement your own challenge run. Ask companies to put in a more difficult mode. I think that's fine. I think an optional, more difficult mode is a better alternative. I don't think that it's fair to tell developers that they need to be adding easy modes. That was the conversation that we had before. Do I think that modern RPGs and other games are becoming too easy? Excuse me. I don't know about RPGs, but I do think that there is not around. That's right, Minion. It was around the time of Sekiro. Sekiro was the one that they said should add easy mode. I don't know that games have become too easy. I think that we are starting to get kinds of games that are easier. I think that's the problem. I don't think anybody will say that Heavy Rain was a hard game. Heavy Rain was not a hard game because it was all QuickTime events. And most of the QuickTime events, you could fail and still get a version of the story. That's not a hard game. Doki Doki Literature Club. We've had the conversation multiple times before about whether or not that even qualifies as a video game. It is a visual novel. Absolutely. But does that qualify as a video game? Since there is no way to actually lose, you will almost always end up at the end of the game if you play Doki Doki Literature Club. So the question is it a video game? We're not here to answer that. My point is that we're getting a lot of kinds of video games that are easy, games with QuickTime events and things like that. They are significantly easier than the stuff that we used to deal with. We used to deal with excruciatingly difficult games because the enemies were tough, because the levels were long, because the controls were bad. These are different kinds of issues. Nowadays, our games are, in some ways, better than they've ever been. But that makes it easier to play them and it makes them easier to finish. I don't think games are shorter, not by a long shot. There are lots of games out there that are. I remember we used to think that 40 and 50 hour RPGs were long, and now 40 or 50 hours get you past the intro screen in Skyrim. So that's definitely not it. I just think that video games are giving us more things to do, and it seems easier. You know, like I said before, you got a crop of games that you don't have to do everything correctly, because doing things incorrectly also leads you to the end of the game, a different ending. Some games you have to perform badly in order to get certain endings. You're getting games that are more things like QuickTime events, where the controls are less demanding. Not to mention the fact that gamers now have grown up with video games, so this is normal. I play plenty of games where I sit there and Beth looks at me like I'm a wizard, because I can do all of these controls and I can do all of these things, and she'll have trouble doing something, and then she'll hand me the controller, and then I'll do it on like the second try, and she'll look at me like I cast some sort of magic spell. And I tell her it's different, because I've been playing games since I was 4 years old. When I was 10, I was not playing games since I was playing games since I was 4 years old, but it was only 6 years. At this point, I've been playing games for like 35 years of my life. 36 years. So games are just easier now. I couldn't tell you how long it took me to beat Symphony of the Night the first time I beat it. I beat Bloodstained the other day. It was 11 hours, and that's long. Yeah, we have the gaming gene. And as much as you laugh at it like it's a joke, our bodies are physically conditioned to react faster to these games. So the hardcore gamers, yes, they do have that sort of twitch motion where, not this twitch, where the games, they react faster, they play them better, and games just get easier, you know? Which is why I have a problem with when things like Sekiro. When Sekiro came out, and people are like, "Oh my god, this game's so difficult." Nah, it's probably as difficult as a lot of the games we played when we were kids. We're just better at those games now. And Sekiro reminded everybody that, you know what? We can ramp up the difficulty if we want to. Hard drive mag stat. What is this? What is this link? Who was that? June Fox. I have that in my basement. I have a copy of that Little Mermaid box in my basement. I don't think games are getting too easy. I think that there are a lot more games than there used to be. And that's another issue, that there's a lot more games than there used to be. So yes, there are more easy games than there used to be. There are also way more difficult games than there used to be. I recently finished Radiant Historia and looked up some reviews. One of them actually said the game was probably far better off when playing friendly mode, which allows you to outright skip most of the random battles and still get the battle experience. They were basically treating it as a visual novel on this new difficulty. Some people want that, Cyrus. Some people want the visual novel experience. We've been playing Final Fantasy VII here. We've been playing it on stream. How many times? Later, press play. How many times did we turn on boost mode and turn off the encounters? We don't need it anymore. I played the game a million times. I probably couldn't die if I tried to. That's just sort of the way it is. So now you get to the point where you want to just experience the game. I can understand that. I don't like it for the first playthrough. I want to play it at the normal, which is another thing. That sort of goes the opposite way. With that, a lot of people don't like the idea of, and I'm one of them, I don't like the idea of taking a game, for playing it for the first time and putting it on easy mode. I don't like that. I think that normal difficulty is the original way the game is tuned. Everything else is different, and I would rather play it on the original version first. So I don't turn it down to easy when I first play it. But here's the thing, I don't turn it up either. I've seen people that they play games and the first thing they do is they look for hard modes. Like, no, that's not okay. I don't think that that's the original version of the game. Play it on normal, beat it on normal, and then decide if you want to ramp up the challenge or if it was too challenging and you'd rather turn it down a little bit. Crash Bandicoot is Dark Souls joke that everyone was making. Yeah, when the Insane Trilogy come out. Even though I only played the original games, I still don't think that the Insane Trilogy is as hard as. Yeah, Neon Mole. That's sort of my problem too. I never think that things are as difficult as people say they are, except for like Dark Souls. Dark Souls is pretty tough. I just thought it was really odd tack to take for an RPG review and decided. Yeah, it's a good topic. It's a good topic. I thought there was another topic, but if not, we're going to. Was there another topic? What would your dream PC build be if you had no limit on money? Andy, I don't know if Andy's still here. My dream PC build. One of these new Ryzen 16 core chips. 32 gigs of probably Trident Z RAM. 14. And see, okay, so here's the thing. My as far as my dream PC build goes, I don't do a whole lot of PC stuff. I don't really play games on my PC because I don't like being tethered to my computer in order to play video games. So I don't have like super high end. I think I would prefer a high end workstation, 16 core Ryzen CPU. I mean, we can do SLI 2080 Ti's, bridged 2080 Ti's, but that's not really important to me. 32 or 64 gigs of RAM would actually be right up my alley. I think I would like something like that. I like the idea of a strong workstation more than I like a gaming PC, just because I don't game on my PC very much. So that would be that. Thoughts on Game Freak's response to the Pokédex controversy? Personally, I think it's a good response. I think we talked about that last week. Realistically, I think that it's funny that they put out a posting about we're not going to change it. It's basically what Game Freak said about it, that they're not going to change it. I think it's, I don't know. I don't think that there's any. I don't think that there was a point in them responding. I think that Game Freak, there was no point in Game Freak responding. A, because the response was pretty much, almost literally, it's not going to change. And B, because it wasn't going to change, so there was nothing for you to say. Like, you know what I mean? Like, or I'm sorry, and B is more that you don't owe anybody an explanation for this, for doing what you did. Again, I still don't think that a new Pokemon on a new system as big as the Switch is the right time to have made this decision, but they made the decision. You deal with it. That's it. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. Yeah, remember when Konami forced you to play the hardest difficulty to get the real true ending? Yeah, Phil, yeah, a lot of companies did that. There are certain games, I think the worst perpetrator? No. Culprit? Worst culprit for that is the first Valkyrie profile. You had to do all of these very specific things in order to get the best ending, the true ending. And I didn't like that. I thought that was a bit ridiculous. So we'll play that game one day on stream, and you can see how nonsense it is in order to get the true ending of that game. It's something that you have to be planning on doing from the beginning. You have to be plotting to get the true ending for that game from the beginning of the game, or you can mess it up. Remember when Ghosts and Goblins made you play the... Yeah, Cyrus, I remember that. Every time. Curse you, Contra 3 Alien Wars. This will be the last topic. June Fox. As for another topic related to anime, Akira is getting an anime that will adapt more of the manga, and the OG movie will get a 4K remaster. I am okay with all of that. I would love to see an Akira series. I would love to see it all fleshed out a little bit. I did always feel that the Akira movie had a lot more story than was able to fit into a movie, and I think that's a big problem with a lot of anime movies, especially older ones, is that there is a lot more story than fits into 90 minutes or 2 hours. So a lot of the time they do feel a bit scrunched down and condensed. So I like the idea of them fleshing it out into a story, into a short series. I hope it doesn't like stretch into infinity, but I do like the idea of that. As far as a 4K movie, I really don't care about 4K, but I am happy to see the movie coming back. I think that that's a great movie that doesn't get talked about enough. At the same time, it gets talked when the topic of Akira comes up, people can't shut up about how amazing it was, and it was rightfully so amazing. But then it goes away, and then it dips into obscurity again. It's so weird. The last thing was that the movie with the movie was that the manga wasn't even finished at the time. Okay. The animation Akira is phenomenal. As someone who read the manga, the story's okay. By the way, do yourself a favor and look up Simpsons Akira, and you will get some pretty amazing animation. I won't even ruin it for you. If you have ever seen the movie Akira and you love it, look up Akira Simpsons, and you will get some very cool looking clips. The story's okay. Yeah, it's a pretty interesting story. I'll be honest with you. I didn't understand it the first couple of times, and as I'm thinking about it right now, I'm not entirely sure I still understand it. I would have to watch it again. But that's a movie that took me a few times. Getting better endings. The story was kind of odd. Some of the side quests needed to get the true ending took a while to track down. Oh, okay. Occasions. One of these shows like after the point where you can. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go. Yeah, Mendez. I am gonna go too. I didn't really like Akira on my first watch, but I enjoyed it on the second run. All right, so that is going to do it for today. I'm gonna wrap this up because we could be talking about this stuff all day. Thank you, everyone, so much for stopping in today and for supporting the channel here. And we unlocked Starship Troopers or Men in Black. Starship Troopers, the CG animation. Men in Black, the movie. But thank you, everyone, for stopping in, for hanging out, for watching as we hit 1,000 followers, which we're still at. We're at 1,001 followers. So thank you very much for that, for all the love and support. If you are watching this right now and you do not follow me on Twitter, check the links down below and you can go follow me on Twitter. And please follow me on YouTube. I'm actually about to hit 2,000 subscribers there, although YouTube is usually just a dumping ground for this show. So if you're here, you don't need to worry too much about YouTube. If you are watching on YouTube, however, also check the links down below and follow us over on Twitter and Twitch, which is where we do the show here live Fridays 5 to 7 p.m. And Twitter for both parties is where I update all kinds of news as far as what's going on with the streams. I post a lot of funny, dumb things from time to time. And in the short upcoming future, I am going to be posting some sort of giveaway. It is most likely going to be tied to this show, but it will be a giveaway for 1,000 followers, so I will do my very best to come up with something that I think is appropriate and available for everybody. Until then, thank you, everybody, for hanging out and supporting us. Have an amazing weekend. Play some fantastic games. Be good to each other. Be excellent to each other, as the Bill and Ted used to say, and they will say again next year, I think, or the year after. Bill and Ted 3 is coming out. But thank you. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. And I will see you all next time.